So what is tanking and why would you want to do it? Well, tanking in Pokemon Go involves playing PvP. Now, before you click off, I'll ask that you stick around to see what it gets you and see what it is, because it's really not that hard. And it's not grinding in a traditional sense. Tanking is purposefully losing your elo, or player rating, so that you can more consistently win when you want to. Well, what does that get you? Since you're theoretically losing more by intentionally forfeiting half your matches. The resources you get are going to be the main reason why you'd want to tank. Namely, rare candies. Which, if you do everything perfectly, you'll be guaranteed 9 to 18 rare candies every single day. That on its own is already amazing. Extrapolate that over 2 weeks, and you're looking at 126 to 252 rare candies. That should already sell you, considering that means you basically get to level any legendary Pokemon up to level 40 for free, but that's not all. You also get a pretty good chunk of Stardust as well. Once beyond rank 20, which isn't hard to do, you'll be getting over 30k Stardust per day. Once again, extrapolate that over 2 weeks, and you'll be getting around 420,000 Stardust. Pretty much for free. You're just paying with your time, which is what everybody's doing in this godforsaken land. This is obviously very useful for free-to-play, suburban, and rural players, where especially rare candies can be hard to come by. Now, you get an insane amount of resources for tanking, but how hard is it to do? Not very, assuming you have a halfway decent understanding of how Pokemon works, and there are some PvP idiosyncrasies to Pokemon Go. Now, this isn't really meant to be a PvP guide itself. I'm only going to touch on the most important aspects to making it work. If you want to get good at PvP, Home Slice Henry is a very good source of gameplay and information to immerse yourself within. Starting with what are good Pokemon. IVs can matter, but not by much. If you really want to get into the weeds of it, you want attack IVs to be low and HP and defense to be high. All you have to understand about this is that the overall stats of this Corviknight will be higher than this one, if powered up to 1500 or 2500 for Ultra and Great Leagues respectively. You don't necessarily have to have the perfect IV spreads if you're looking to tank. I use some perfect ones and some not. The only exception to this rule is Master League, where you want your IVs to be as high as possible since there's no CP cap. This is what you're looking for, though maybe not in a Pidgeot. If you would like to know what's good and what's not, the website PvPoke keeps an updated roster of the best Pokemon for every single metagame. You can even assemble a team and it'll tell you if it's strong or weak, and it can point out some good and bad matchups. Though I'd still recommend actually playing some games for yourself and learning on the fly. So now that you've actually got a halfway decent team, you actually got to play a bit of PvP. This is where the actual strategy of tanking comes in. Every day, you get 5 sets of 5 battles, totaling out to 25 battles per day. If you're tanking, you'll purposefully lower your elo, or rating, to a point where you can win comfortably. But you only do this after hitting rank 20, which is only gated behind getting a certain amount of wins. So just play till you get to rank 20. I wouldn't worry about your record or resources before rank 20, since Stardust rewards are heavily cut, and it can be genuinely hard to tell the quality of opponent. Another caveat to mention is my tinfoil hat theory states that every player's elo resets at the beginning of a new season. Because it's always a struggle for me to get to rank 20. It's never not. I'm halfway decent at PvP, which in practical terms for you, if you're less confident in your skills and you want a smooth time getting to rank 20, wait a week or so if a new season just dropped. All the sweats will get out of your elo range. So after you hit rank 20, what do? You have to find an elo range that you can win at consistently. For me, this is around 1200 to 1300, but I can also comfortably hit ace rank every season. You might need to go lower depending on your confidence. This can mean for a day or two, just forfeit every single match until you get to a point that you want to try actually winning. If you aren't ace ranked or higher, you can see your elo rating after finishing a set of 5 battles and collecting your Stardust reward. Now that you're at a comfortable elo range, it's time for you to actually start farming for all those resources I talked about before. The strategy is very simple. For 3 of your sets, win 4 battles and forfeit the 5th. For the last 2 sets, forfeit all 5. This comes out to 12 wins, 13 losses, which will keep you at nearly the identical elo that you started the day with, while maximizing rare candy gathering. Winning 4 matches in your 3 sets guarantees 3 rare candies per set, which is where you get 9 guaranteed from. However, if you're lucky, the second reward also can occasionally give 1 to 3 rare candies, if not Sinnoh Stones, Silver Pineapples, or TMs. The Stardust rewards come from the first and the set rewards. Whether you forfeit or win the set, you'll still get 3,000 and 5,000 depending on the record. That's pretty much the whole strategy. Now, to answer some idiosyncratic questions, why not just play every PvP set out? Once you reach the near peak of your skill level, it becomes incredibly hard to consistently win 3 in a set, let alone 4 to get your guaranteed rare candies. You can improve all the way up to Legend if you're truly goated, but the effort required is just so insane as opposed to just tanking. I would also argue that the time investment is worth considering. Tanking takes me around 30 to 35 minutes a day to play the max sets. If I'm grinding out to get ace rank once a season, for the increased Stardust rewards at the end of the season, the rewards are really good for a day or so, hence the 17 win streak. But once you acclimatize, it becomes very hard to get your guaranteed rare candy rewards. It also takes me around an hour and a half to play out every set, depending on the meta and difficulty of the opponent. So you are quite literally spending more than double the amount of time for less gain, except maybe Stardust. I enjoy Pokemon Go PvP. I think that it's way more complex and interesting than most people give it credit for, because I'm a fucking loser. But just comparing the inputs and outputs of tanking versus not, I personally do not think that it's worth it. Is there any specific order that matters? Not particularly. You can do 3 win sets in a row, then forfeit your last 2 later in the day. It'll be the same result if you alternated wins and forfeit sets. The only thing to keep in mind is by winning 3 sets in a row will increase your elo, and if you're less confident in your abilities, you might get too high for you to consistently win and sacrifice a rare candy reward. Not the end of the world, but resources are what we're here for. Research tasks. The seasonal PvP research tasks were recently updated to be based on both wins and played matches. The wins aren't bad. I'm here to talk about the Battle in the Go Battle League tasks. You'll increase their counts by winning and losing, but not forfeiting. Forfeiting is faster and less risky if you want to keep the 12 to 13 record perfect. But to maximize the research gains, booting up any of the leagues with extremely low CP Pokemon to give fast free wins to people will give you research task increases. This method is also considerably easier because you don't have to micromanage it. You just boot it up and let it run. Though you do run the risk of people forfeiting on you and screwing up your elo record. Speaking of which, what if the other guy forfeits faster than you? Not a huge deal, though it is pretty funny that at low elo, you eventually start fighting over who can forfeit faster sometimes. Just remember that the goal elo that you can win comfortably at and stay around, that is the entire goal. If you get too high, you might have to forfeit an extra set once a month or so, because some things aren't going perfectly. The same thing applies to you miscounting and accidentally winning an entire set. Speaking of which, you can optimize Stardust a little bit. If you want to optimize the Stardust gain by just winning all 5 in a set as opposed to 4, you get a lot bigger of a chunk in the 5th battle reward. The only thing to note is that this is going to skew your elo higher, obviously. You're going to need to be forfeiting an extra set every once in a while, a lot more often if you didn't. What this eventually comes out to is you're sacrificing a little bit of rare candy gain for Stardust, which will come down to your own personal preference and needs. The last thing is that there are some battle weekend events, or battle weeks. These multiply the daily available sets by 4. The same concept applies to the last question. You can play as many sets as you want in a row to win or lose, just as long as you know that you can still comfortably get the resources that you want. And that's really everything I could think of to pack into this video. If you have any additional questions, leave a comment and I'll probably answer. That's about it. Have yourself a damn good one.